Okay, I think I'm online. Good. And I'm not sure if the microphone is loud enough. I might change the position of it. Let's change the camera first. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, here I am. Hey guys. So I will need to change the microphone first because I think you might not hear me correctly. So let's change that. I don't have any place for it. So yeah, I did have some problems with my laptop. So just a little warning: it can crash suddenly out of nowhere, and then I'm away. So, but I will come back right back just in the case it happens. Oh, we already have someone here. Okay, I will need to change the window. Hi, Christina. Hi, Alia. Oh my God, it's so amazing to have you here. Hello. So I'm up in the apartment. I didn't want to go in the studio because it's dark there, and it's nice and light and cozy here. Okay, you're doubling up your voice input. Me here, everything twice. Oh my God, no. How can I change that? Okay, let me see what I can do. This was a test sound. Oh, okay. You're so funny. Christina, I fixed it. Sorry, it wasn't you. Okay, that's good to know. Wonderful. So, yeah, I will change the camera for you. So we are going to painting right away. Let's see. So, okay, here we go. So if this is okay for you, I will just start with my drawing and explain the process and what I do. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to write anything in the comment section that you want. And I hope you had a great week so far and everything is fine and you have nice weather. So here in Germany, the weather is currently very good. And yeah, I hope you have had a good time so far. Okay, so I'm going to continue on my Egyptian goddess piece, which I already showed you on my Patreon. And yeah, I would like to show you my reference as well, so that you have a little glimpse of it. And I will just take my laptop and it's a little bit, I'm not sure. Or maybe I will just make a photo with my smartphone so that I can show it to you. I haven't printed it out because it wouldn't fit anyways very good to on this little crop of the screen, but I hope this shows it to you. Let me open the window. Where is it? Okay. Okay, it is a little bit light, I fear. So yeah, this is at least the reference that I have. So we have reds and yellows in her headdress. And I think I'm continuing with painting in the lightest parts first. So when painting with watercolors, it's important to paint in a specific order. At least this is my experience, because when I use dark colors, when I use light colors over dark colors, the dark colors would get picked up and they would bleed into the lighter colors. I talked about it in my latest video on YouTube, so I don't know, maybe some of you have seen it. And so this is why I will start with the lighter tones. And I'm going to start with her crown here. And this is a golden tone that I use from Schminke. It's very light, actually. I'm not sure. This is maybe too light. You let me know. Okay, there are too many windows. So I also already transferred, obviously, my like the reference onto the watercolor paper. And for this painting, I'm using Fabriano hot pressed paper again, because I knew that I would use a lot of color pencils in her face, like in the portrait portion of this piece. And I can't really do that with other paper than Fabriano, or also Arche or Arc paper. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. I will need to change here some things up. Making a live stream always requires to have several windows up, and it's a bit messy. So I apologize for all the confusion here. Okay, so the first part of a crown is this darker golden tone. And then I continue with, this is like a snake. So I'm just filling everything out with the base tone here, just carefully. Yeah, and the underdrawing, I just printed out my reference picture and I filled in the back of the paper with, I think, yeah, this is just normal lead pencil. And then I just traced it through. And then I begin just filling out the face. I started with the face because this is the tutorial you've already seen this month. So I will just, yeah, where was I? I lost my train of thoughts here. So I think I will just make this snake part here a bit wet. This was too much. It's good to always have a paper towel at hand so that you can prevent some drama on your paper. And now I will mix a tone here for the shadows. And for that, I'm using Van Dyke Brown and a little bit of sienna, burnt sienna, so that I have a brown tone. And this should be wet and it should bleed out a bit so that we have kind of some abstract shadows here. And I will just inform you in advance that it, like things like this jewelry here are just, the whole painting process, in fact, really takes long. And it could be that you don't see a lot of changes in this live stream because I'm not a really fast painter. So in the time-lapse videos, obviously everything looks super fast, but in real life, I oftentimes take my time, and 1 hour, for example, sometimes not so much happens in 1 hour. So I never know in advance. So the snake has little, how's it called? Scalds? I don't know. On her back. Like the reference photo is pretty blurry. So I also only indicate this pattern here. I don't do it like super fine. It's not necessary. But let me check the video here. I'm a little bit disappointed the video quality in the live streams is always so bad. I wish it would be a bit better, but yeah. internet connection is also not fast enough for this. So I'm continuing with the head of the snake thing on her head. By the way, I just, for the reference, I just photoshopped 3 different images together. And the model is a person that I photographed myself. And I just changed a bit her facial features in Photoshop with the liquify function to make it more doll-like and more idealized. If you hear some weird background noises, it's my cute dog. She's going haywire. When she doesn't get my attention, she just makes noises because she don't want me to be at the laptop or at my smartphone. So if you hear her, if you hear some voices, some barking, it's my little dog. So let me see how the shadow goes here. It makes this round here. I know it doesn't look like anything at the moment. It should change. So I will also add some blue now. I'm using blue actually from one of my patrons, and it's she creates her own watercolors, and the watercolor is from her. I bought it from her Etsy shop. Her name is Cecilia Tegenfield or Feld. I'm not sure if I pronounced her name right. If I got her second name right. So her surname is Cecilia, and she does her own, and it's really like it. But so this is her blue, but you can obviously just use ultramarine blue. So it's just, I really like this blue that she does because it's like the exact tone that I was looking for. And it's also highly pigmented. So I really like it. I paint a lot with her paint here. So I'm wondering if this thing on her head is a mixture between a snake and a bird. I haven't looked a lot into the Egyptian mythology yet, so I am unfortunately very uneducated here. Shame on me. I should have done that. And I know that you came here, so I just went right into the instructional part. But I totally forgot that it's amazing to have you here. And yeah, I totally appreciate it. And it's like so amazing to paint together with you. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to write them down. Or if you want to talk about things that you're working on the moment, let me know. I will read all your comments. So, okay. Here I painted this part a bit too dark on her head. I think I need to move the camera also because I think you couldn't see this. Let me see. Save settings. Okay. I will just change the position of my easel here. It won't move. So I will just make it, change it a bit, pull it up a bit. No, oh, it doesn't move. It's not possible. So I have to move the camera. Yeah, I will just continue with the other parts on this drawing. It's always a bit difficult to move this camera apparatus here. Okay, then I will do this area here. I think I need to move the camera though, because it doesn't show the whole picture. And I will work on her full headpiece now. I wonder why it's so light though. It's too light. I would like to change something with the lightness because I'm not sure. So, and I will see if I can change that. Okay, camera focus. Okay, it did focus. That's a good thing. Okay. How can I change the settings? One moment, please. No, it won't do it. Okay, I have to first change the camera. So I will change the camera to my front camera, and then I can adjust the lightness of the other camera. So let's see. Okay. Okay. Maybe that worked. I'm not sure, so we'll have to see it. And change it back. Okay, I think this is too dark. So now it's too dark, right? Okay. I'm sorry that you have to be patient now. Oh, the technique. Okay, one more try, and then we should be good. Okay, adjust the lightness. Is it called lightness? I'm not sure. Okay, this looks better. Yeah, I think that's good. Yes, I'm so happy. This looks better. Okay. Just adjusting it a bit. I should have thought in advance that I will have to show the whole picture here. But I was a bit in a rush. So I think that's good. Okay, we can continue painting now. So sorry for the delay, guys. Perfect. Yay. Hi, Leah, by the way. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. Okay, finally continuing here. I don't want to let you wait so long. So I will fill out this string here with go. Like that. So this, I don't know how you would call it, but this piece of her headpiece is like a long stick or string thing, and the end of it are two bird heads. Something of the Egyptian mythology, I guess. I still have to read more about it so that I can also find an appropriate title for this painting. So I just going to fill out the other bird head here. So this is just the golden watercolor that I use. It's also from Schminke. I think it's Holbein Schminke. Holbein, I don't know if it's the medium grade or the most expensive. I'm not sure, but the gold is definitely not the cheapest one. Okay, the next light color that I can find on my painting are the end tips of these feathers here. So, as as I explained in my latest video, the order of applying watercolor is important, so that you can add darker color. So, for example, when I would fill in everything with black first, and then I would add, for example, like these light pastel tones, the wet brush would pick up the dark color again. So I'm always starting with the lightest colors first. Sometimes I forgot, and sometimes it's not that important because sometimes I want the color to bleed into the color that I have on my brush when I want to have abstract areas, or when it's not maybe an important part on the canvas, or it's on the not in the middle focal point. So for these feather tips, I need to mix a gray tone actually. So I mixed the wrong tone here. I will use indigo blue for it. I think it's cobalt blue. It looks turquoise. I think it's cobalt. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. I've never pronounced that word. You let me know. Maybe you know what I mean, which color. This is a bit too dark. Also, the good thing is when you start with the lighter tones and you then add the darker tones, and for example, you would go over the lines, you can then, with the darker tones, cut out the lighter areas so that you can own the right shape. Even if I kind of would mess it up and would go over the line, then when I would add the darker tones, I can just perfectly cut out every shape that I applied or painted before. So here is another golden border. Need a little bit of water with all this talking. Oh, Cecilia. Hey. Hi, Lioba. Hi, everybody. Hey, Cecilia. I just talked about the colors that I bought from you, the Undine color. This is Cecilia. She does the amazing watercolor. So I can definitely recommend it. It's amazing. I use it for almost every artwork where I use blue. So yeah, I think it's a little bit hard for everyone because it's better when I would use colors that everyone can use, but you can also use normal ultramarine blue. So no pressure to buy extras. Thank you, Cecilia. So I'm just filling out the borders here of the little feathers. Oh my God, my accent is extra strong today. So if you were looking for hearing a horrible German accent, welcome to my live stream. Thank you, Cecilia. Okay, so I will just add those stripes here. I also just add the color that I have on my brush everywhere where it belongs, so I don't have to mix the same color over and over again. So here we have the gold on the headdress. And here's actually a golden border. I forgot to mark that. That can become difficult. So here is another line. Like that. Can you hear me right? Otherwise, I will change the microphone to my camera microphone because I'm actually with my mouse on my camera. So let me know if you are okay with the sound. So here are more of these golden stripes. Sometimes it might look a bit boring when I paint just those patterns, but this is sometimes the whole process. When I just look and see where some color belongs, and then I just fill that color in. It doesn't look like much. Sometimes the most interesting thing, I believe, can be the face or hands or just skin in general. But the other parts of the paintings are important too. They might not be as interesting, but they make the whole painting too. So it's important. Sound is good. Thank you. This is good to know. I need to fill in those blue areas here as well. With the Fabriano paper, you can't make blendings or gradients. I think only if you paint completely wet and wet, what I don't do. I like to have it kind of half dried. And if I want to have a blending, I use color pencils. I also only need blendings for face or for skin tones. For everything else, I really like the abstractions, so I don't mind when I don't have any gradients. Okay. I will now do the flowers here. Let me see if they are in the camera window. Let me check it. Yeah, they are visible, so that's a good thing. I will mix the brightest red that I can get here. This is cadmium red. It's whether cadmium red deep or just cadmium red. So I will also, at first I will use a bit more water because I'm not sure how dark it will be. Okay, I think I will need a little bit of magenta to make the tone a bit more rosy because it's not that orange, orange-like red. It's more of a rosy pinkish sort of red. So I'm just adding a bit magenta and water. And now, while painting those, oh, hi Shaila, thank you so much for, I just forgot to read the comments. Shaila wrote, huge fan here. Thank you so much. This is so nice of you. Didn't you write a comment on YouTube asking something? I forgot it. I'm bad at that. If you have, for example, if you want a question answered and I don't answer you and you are my patron, shoot me a message. When this happens, then I didn't see it, so, or I forgot it. This can happen too. So what I do here is that I add those individual flower petals, but at the same time, I try to leave some little spots here between the individual patterns open so that I get some of the white, like little white scraps left and little white dots from the paper, so that I have like a watercolory and fresh look. So I don't want to become Shayla Bright. Wasn't me, I don't think, lol. Okay, good. Then it was someone else. Then it's no problem. So what I want to accomplish with leaving those little white dots here open is that I having like a fresh and light look. Sometimes with my older watercolor paintings, I would fill in everything, and for some motifs it would fit. But especially like for my Goddess series, I feel that they look very fresh and better when I don't work like I don't fill in every single part. So I leave them intentionally open so that you can see this is watercolor. This has more maybe of a loose and abstract look, but it's of course just a matter of taste and of style. So yeah, just wanted to let you know. So I will squint my eyes, so that I can see the actual colors here. This is a bit too dark. I try to lift it off a bit, so I'm just using a wet brush here and go over this area. I think it doesn't have a lot of effect though. So then I continue with a little blossom here. I use a bit less of the red because I just noticed that it was too strong. Yeah, I will just have to live with it. So I'm just filling in the flower petals here, like that. And I try to go along the petal shapes with my brush. Okay, now we have all the reds. I will leave this to dry for a couple of minutes. And I forgot one petal here. And now we have here are red areas over the tips of these feathers that go along her head. So I'm just going to fill them in. I might use another brush. Or not. Or not. I will see if it works with this one. That's okay. So I'm just carefully filling them in here. When I have regular patterns like this, or also like the kimono patterns or jewelry, I find it very relaxing. So there's no way around it to paint these things like fast or rush them, because in the end then it doesn't look good. So when I know I have to have patience for certain parts of my paintings, I just enjoy it. So I just say this is a relaxing, and there's no need to rush. Also, another thing is what I noticed when painting, sometimes I'm not concentrated anymore. So after a couple of hours, even if I kind of want to finish certain parts of my painting because I think, hey, I want to finish it, I stop when I know that I'm not concentrated, because nothing good comes out of it. So if you notice this with yourself, I can definitely recommend to just either kind of take a nap or just relax a bit, or maybe just continue another day. So because it's horrible to mess up a painting. Okay, I think red. I just can't make the distinction between wet and red. My accent is too heavy. Anyways, I will fill in these jewelry parts here. So these are like little crystals, and I will use this cobalt blue and a little bit of indigo blue, and I mix a lot of water so that I have a very light mixture here. And I will just add some dots of this blue mix here. I think this is a bit too blue, so I will need more water and a bit of green. So I bought a new green, which I can recommend. Let me get it. Green, where are you? Yes, I already thought it's gone. So this is helio green, transparent green, but my old green was empty, and I had no idea what was in it. And since I now changed from painting with those little pads or pens, yeah, I think they're called pens, watercolor pens, and now I only paint with those tubes. So I just put the color into the empty pens in my watercolor set, and it's better. So I definitely save money with this method, and I now remember the color names, because when you use those pens, on the back there's no title of the color. If you forgot which color it was, you will never know. So yeah, so this is why I can sometimes not say what color I use, because I never know, and my watercolor set is already 10 years old or even older. So I mixed helio green into my turquoise mix here. Cecilia, naps. Okay. This was from before. I'm sorry, I forgot to read the comments. So yeah. Anyways, I will use more of this cobalt blue and a bit of this green so that I have the perfect green mixture here. And when I paint those jewelries, I try to leave open some spots so that I have like white highlights here for the jewelry, to get an illusion that it's an actual gemstone and it shines in the light. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I can't really tell from the reference details. I can only barely notice that these are gemstones, and so I will just roughly indicate them here. And since I already painted some gemstones, I know that they have those highlights, and they also have some darker areas. So I will just go here with the same mix, just add some dots here, and hopefully they will look like gemstones then. Okay. The roses are dry now. So they are pretty dark. I don't want to paint them that dark. For the dark areas, I will use magenta and a bit of the Undine blue from Cecilia. So that gives me a purple tone. Now, when I add those shadows, I need to be very focused because I can mess it up strongly. I can never get lighter with watercolors, only darker. So adding shadows is always a bit thrilling here. By the way, have any of you already watched some of the first episodes of the second season of Westworld? It's so exciting. Like, I love it. I'm looking forward to it. Just randomly thought about it. So there's like one large shadow here. And here are some dark shadows as well. I might use another brush here. I think this would make it easier. I find it easier. Shelley Newman. I'm obsessed with Westworld. Me too. Oh my god. We binge watched the first and now we are watching of course, the new one. It's amazing. Love it so much. Okay, so for the flower petal, I will use this. I will try to paint it with this brush. And use my petal style technique. So make those short brush strokes here. Just carefully. I'm squinting the eyes so that I can't really see the actual petals of the flower, so that I can only see blurry colors right now, and this helps me to figure out where the actual shadows are, because it is easy to do strong shadows. Let's see. Okay. Do I have a smaller brush? That's the question. I don't know where the smaller brushes are. It's always the same. I never find the small brushes. Maybe this one. So there are some sharp in the flowers. Like that. I now add a bit more of the indigo blue to my magenta mix. And I add a bit more of the cadmium red tone. Okay. I might actually just take a closer look at my reference. Okay, so because I want to figure out how the shadows work here. So sometimes squinting the eyes and making everything a bit more blurry is helpful. Sometimes it's helpful to have a closer look at the reference photo. Most of the time, I figure it out while I go. So if things that I say sound confusing from time to time, it's because I just need to see for myself when I paint. So everything that I paint is always a challenge. Like, even though I paint 10 years already, it's not easy. So everything is difficult and everything takes concentration. So this is why I sometimes sound a bit confusing. So here's a border around this petal here. Maybe like that. And here's another shadow. And I try to just add those like stripes or just strokes so that I still have an interesting pattern of brush strokes here instead of filling an area out. So the difference with the other areas was that I would just fill them out. But here I want my brush strokes to be seen and to look interesting. So stripes or just those single brush strokes. Okay. I think this rose is okay for now. I'm continuing with the other one. I might probably need a gouache for this one. I think some areas need to be lighter, but we will see. Okay. I will need a shadow tone again. I will use indigo blue and a bit of magenta. Okay, and now like the inside of the rose. This is important and difficult. So the shadows that makes up a rose, when they're wrong, it doesn't look like a rose anymore. So you have to get them right. There are some cats arguing outside. If you hear them, and now my dog heard it, and then she will bark. Nein, nicht machen. I have to argue with her then too. So I will try to render the shadows inside this rose here. I will need some more red tones. Just adding here some of the reds. And you see, like the process is super slow. And even if when I filled out everything, I will then take a look and correct probably a lot of stuff again. And then I might also use gouache and add some highlights or just add some midtones. And especially with areas like the rose here, I have many roses, like so many, that I don't rush them anymore. I'm just really careful when I paint them. So yeah, bear with me here. Another shadow. And here as well. So I'm now squinting my eyes so that I can also see, I can see the color values better and not so many details. And this, I just switching between squinting the eyes and looking closely at my reference. So I'm going around this petal. Let me check the camera if you can see it. I was so focused on painting that I'm not sure if you can see it. I think it's okay. So in the camera, actually, it looks super orange, but in real live, it isn't. I'm mixing like a cherry tone, which goes more in the magenta, more in the cooler direction. So if it looks ugly on the camera, it doesn't look like it in real life. So if you find the colors ugly, because I think they're just too orange, they are not. Okay, I'm continuing with the shadows here. So I added those darker shadows in the middle, and now I'm having this darker red tone on my brush, and I'm just following those dark lines because this is like making a gradient. It's not a real gradient, but it's just placing colors next to each other, like pixel art. Just place one pixel next to another one. So it needs to be darker in here. And I will just continue with filling out the petals that are placed around this center of this little rose here. And after I place every brush stroke, I compare what I do with my reference. So I'm looking with squinted eyes, both on my paper and on my reference at the same time, so that I have like the perfect comparison between the two. And this just helps me to only paint what I see and don't paint what I think of this rose, but I can only really paint what I see. I can't talk anymore. Okay. So here we need a darker shadow, and I will use my indigo and magenta tone for this again. The good thing is I touched the camera. The good thing is when you paint with watercolor and the watercolor dried on your palette, you can just reactivate it again. This is what I love so much about watercolor. I can just open it and start right away. When we paint in oils, like my boyfriend and me, and we want to start, we have like 20 minutes of preparation before we can even start. We need to put the oil paints on the palette, then the mineral spirits, then the paint medium, the liquid original. And this just takes so much time. With watercolors, you don't have to do any of that. But I still love oil paint, so just have to get used to it. Okay, now here's like one little rose petal, and it has a contour, so I'm adding it here. Okay, I think this now looks approximately like the reference. Obviously not perfect. We'll add some red here. And here at the top rose, I need also some darker red tones and some darker blue and magenta tones. Just work some of this darker tone into this area here. Like that. Okay, another brush stroke. Okay, so we have still a couple of minutes, and I think I want to show you how I do the gemstones here. I did the roses, and they will look, now they don't look perfect, but when they are cut out, with the paint that surrounds them, they will pop out a bit more. And then I might also use a bit of gouache and help like getting some of the individual petals out again. I don't want to do it now because I first want to have everything filled out because I add gouache. This is just having everything else filled out is helpful to just know if I have to even do it. Maybe they will look good as they are. So I think I will continue on the gemstone parts here. I will start at the top and I just thought that I forgot to add more gold here. So there's actually a row of these golden stripes here. So I will have to add them before I add the black. Just quickly add all of them. Like this. What is here? On my reference, here's just nothing. But I will solve that problem maybe another time. Not today. I will start at the top so I can avoid this part down there. So for cutting out the gemstones, I need a dark brown tone, and I'm using the Van Dyke brown. And I think it's almost the right color. I only need a bit of the indigo blue. And now I will have to concentrate. So first of all, here's a bit dark. Then here's a bit dark. Oh, my computer might crash in a moment. A black window just appeared. So if I disappear, it's my computer. Okay, maybe we are lucky today. Okay, what I want to do when I cut out those gemstones is that I also want to leave some white spots here. So I don't want to fill out everything perfectly with watercolor, so that I still keep the freshness and the illustrative look of this piece. Like that. And there are also these golden areas in between. They might be a bit too light. So on the reference, they are way darker. They are almost the same value as the dark areas that I paint here. But maybe it looks good. If they are too light, I will have to change them to darker afterwards when I filled in everything here. Can't say it for sure. So I will just fill them out here. And on the other side as well. I keep it a bit loose. You can go totally obsessive with those details and make them super perfect and very accurate. With some areas, I like to do it, but I also like to keep some areas loose. And on this painting, the face area is already very detailed. So I like to have a contrast between just certain parts. I don't want to have everything look perfect. I want to have this contrast between the looser areas and the fine areas. So, and here you see that I cut those gemstone areas out. And when you compare like the part here with the part there, they already look more real. Like when I now I want to get them out more. So what I do then is to use more of the dark green. So I use cobalt, cobalt blue and the heliogreen or heliogreen, however you pronounce it, and a bit of the indigo blue. And I just add at the bottom of every gemstone here, just some dots of this paint, like that. Not too much, only a little bit. This was too much on the one gemstone here. Just a bit. And the rougher and looser you paint gemstones, actually, the better they look. So I made this discovery. Just add a bit of more gold here. Yeah, so you can imagine how this would look when I just complete this area. And this looks more like gemstones than the part that is not cut out. So sometimes things look only realistic when the surrounding area is painted, because they are part of the illusion. Yeah. So we already have 1 hour of painting behind us, and I hope this live stream was helpful to you. So I haven't accomplished much because I'm really a slow painter, but I hope it was helpful to you. And I wanted to thank you for joining me. It was really wonderful to have you here. It's always nice to paint with company. So yeah, this is super amazing. So what I did here, I just corrected those little stripes here. I just blurred them out a bit. So actually, sometimes you want to blur things out with the black paint, so you can do that. Yeah. I would say I will call it a day for now. If you have any questions left, you can still post them in the comments. I will change the camera back so that I can properly say goodbye to you. Let me change the camera. Where is it? Camera? Ah, it's here. Dave. Okay. So thank you so much. It's already a bit late. I will watch Westworld, but I will have to wait for my boyfriend. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know how you like this live stream. If you have any wishes for future live streams, for example, or you want me to paint other things, just let me know. I just want to help you out. So I wish you all a wonderful evening, and I see you on Patreon or in the next live stream. So sending love to all of you. Bye-bye.